All right. Good morning, Raiders. Welcome back to the live room. Happy Thursday to you. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you had a good Wednesday. Hope you got some exciting plans for the weekend. I'm super excited for the weekend. Got some family coming down for a basketball tournament. So hopefully we can take in some good games, see some family, eat some good food. That's the best part. I get to show off some of the cool places we have here to eat. I got there's a really cool place. I love, you guys know I got a business mind. I love there's a cool place that opened up where it's I think a week ago around here, where it gives upstart businesses a chance to, they can rent a spot. Like imagine a big general place. They can rent a spot, set up their stand, kind of see if there's a demand, or kind of test out their product and whatnot. And then if so, they can move on to the next level and go rent an actual kind of more permanent space. I think it's a really good idea. But anyway, not to get off to too much of a rant, but Monetary Policy Day today. We've been talking about this day all week. I have zero interest in the market today. Absolutely zero. All of my trades that did not get filled yesterday have been erased. So yeah, I called it a viewer's choice day. Usually I do a trade of the day. I use the first session of the live room here. We put on YouTube and Trading View, and I show you guys my top trading idea today. I want to make today a viewer's choice day. So if you're listening out there on YouTube or even here in the live room, if there is a pair, right? Because I never let you guys kind of participate. I'm always like, I chose my idea. You sit here and listen to it. If there's a pair you wanted to look at, wanted me to analyze, type it in, and I will. I will make that the trade of the day. Live room members, we always do this. If you have anything on your radar, let me know. But yeah, this is a vacation day. It's funny, we were talking, I know there's a delay on YouTube, so while those guys are getting it in, if you didn't see the Trader Coffee Break episode with Jason Grayston and myself yesterday, where we did an episode on money management and position sizing, we talked about good trading being boring. We talked about kind of the myths of what professional traders do and kind of scammy traders do, right? And scammy traders are always hyping up the stuff that doesn't matter, right? Thank you, Chris. They're hyping up systems, right? They're hyping up strategies, right? They're hyping up today's news events, right? Massive volatility in the market today. Bank of England, ECB, ISM, news day, right? They're hyping it up because they know that's what gets people excited. The reality is, right? Again, and I'm not sure if it was you, Chris, that asked the question, what is the meaning of the phrase buy the rumor, sell the news, right? The reality is anything related to this actual news event has already been priced into the market. Today is just the day that the suckers got. Pretty much. It's not a good idea to try to recklessly trade news events like this. As like a gambler, it's just going to end up in destruction. And we did a video 2 weeks ago on the Trading Edge talking about some of the reasons funded traders fail. And remember, one of those reasons was they fail in high volatility markets. And it's because they're trying to get too much out of the market, or they're too excited from a hot streak, and they think they're a trading god, and they blow it all. So for me personally, days like this, right? You can't predict. I mean, you can easily predict what's going to happen. You can't necessarily predict the reaction in every circumstance. If you're going to be, if conservation of capital is going to be your number one goal, it's best just to stay out. Let all the fun stuff happen. Let all the whipsaw happen. Wait till the dust settles. Give it 15 minutes after everything's done, and then reevaluate from there. That is the best thing you can do, right? Don't fall for the hype. You can't lose money if you're not involved in this trade. And I know some of you guys are going to say, well, you can't make money if you're not involved in the trade. But remember your priorities, right? Conservation of capital. That is the number one goal. So no interest for me, but we'll look around at stuff because I know you guys like to talk. And I killed enough time to see kind of what the traders on YouTube wanted to take a look at. What role does God play in your life, your trading life? Well, I don't think there's a difference between your trading life and your regular life. It is all intertwined, and it's amazing how each benefit each other. And I started trading before I had a family, and obviously I have a family now, and I can honestly say that the lessons that I've learned in trading, specifically like patience and organization, have helped me massively in my family life. And then lessons that I've learned in my family life have helped me with my trading. I can tell you one thing that really helped. I don't know if you've ever seen, and Jason's in the live room right now, Jason Greystone. So in his room, not his room, but in his house, he's got this massive calendar. I remember listening to one of his presentations, and he said this. He's got this massive calendar, and it's a family calendar. And what he does with that calendar is he blocks out time for stuff that he's doing. And one of the things that he always makes sure to do is they organize specific family time, right? It's organized into your schedule. And when it's that specific family time, it's like, hey, I'm not doing work. I can't do this. I can't be sneaking off to check charts. It's only time with family. It's dedicated because that is an important part. So that was something, organization from, I guess, a business perspective that I was working on that worked into my family life as well, because I had a lot of trouble adjusting to having a family, right? So imagine when I first started trading, early 20s, single, and living the bachelor life. Not, well, I had a girlfriend, but not the bachelor life. But, no family, no commitments, anything like that. I was able to invest like 10 hours a day, 10 to 12 hours a day in learning how to trade. I had nothing better to do than sit in front of a computer, sit in front of TVs and learn how to trade, right? And I truly believe that I'm not the smartest dude in the world, but my success in everything in life is because of my ability to outwork people. Like, I believe that is my number one trait. Like, I will not stop. And like, you are going to have to die if you want to, work harder than me. Like, that's just what it is. If we're going to do something, I'm going to outwork you. And only way you're going to win is if I literally die because I can't go anymore. Right. So that worked in everything in life, other business aspects, trading as well. Now, when you have a family, you can't necessarily commit 10, 12 hours to that craft because you're going to destroy your family. You're not going to be a good wife or a husband. You're not going to be a good father, mother. Right. So it was quite an adjustment, kind of finding that balance. So I think skills in life, skills in trading, they're one and the same. And the role that God plays in that, well, that's going to be up to the particular person and how important that is to him. I see Billy says Dollar Canada. I see 2 people for Dollar Canada. All right, so let's go over to Dollar Canada. Let's check it out. Give me a time frame, guys, YouTubers. Or actually, we can just go from top-down analysis. We'll do Dollar Canada as our viewer's choice trade of the day. Now, here's the funny thing in the markets, too, where, speaking of news, when news comes out, a lot of times, have you ever watched a news announcement and you watched a pair that has nothing to do with that news announcement and that pair is going crazy? Give me a yes if that's been you before. Sorry, I'm just reading the name. Old user too. Right? Understand that news, in general, investing, it always, in Forex, it always has a trickle-down effect. People never, people rarely, man, can't talk today. People rarely take money out of the market. They simply shift it around. So it's not like when something goes wrong, they remove it from the market and put it under their bed, right? They shift it around. So plenty of times, you see this a lot with risk on, risk off stuff, right? If let's say there's negative news for the dollar, for example, right? You may see a Swiss pair start moving. You may see a yen pair start moving. Well, why? Because market's moving from one safe haven to another. Same thing with the Aussie, right? If we're, in a risk on type of situation. So just because a news event doesn't affect your base currency doesn't mean that it won't affect the other markets that you're looking at. So I think that's very important, because I know I was trapped time and time again as a younger trader where I'm trading like the pound Swiss and like dollar news comes out and I'm like, why are we tanking? It has nothing to do with this. And then you learn from those lessons. Hey, good morning, Tega. or Julius Tega. Anyway, good morning. All right, so let's look at dollar Canada. Let's see. Justin says 4-hour potential cipher. Someone else says Billy just said dollar Canada. All right. So bigger picture dollar Canada. If you're just joining in, again, this is a blah day for me, big news event day. So there's nothing really of my interest. So I want to look at you guys. Dollar, or refer to you guys. Dollar Canada. We're coming off the big Head and Shoulders we talked about. Jabba. Joop. Joop. Boom. Boom. Came down to $1.25 where we expected. Now we're working our way back up. Now, what could we have here, guys? You're seeing this consolidation, right? Looks like we could potentially have what as well setting up. And dollar Canada will be fun. Dollar Canada the other day, we had like 5 ciphers setting up. the big one, the smaller one, the bigger one, the smaller one, right? Could have a double top. Yeah. Could have an opposite Head and Shoulders, right? We don't know. Now, a key level to look to be violated as always, and this is a sneaky one. A key level to look to be violated as always is going to be this level right here. And a sneaky one is the one right above it, right? So if we can pass these levels, right, 128.50s, good chance we're going to head up to 129.5s, right? So just from before we get into the pattern stuff, just a price action perspective, if we can violate this level, we're likely to come up to our previous level of structure right there. So keep that in the back of your mind for a longer term continuation trade. Now, as we go into the pattern stuff, it'll be a little bit of a review, right? We have a few different pattern formations setting up, right? We can look at this as our initial X to A leg, right? An anchor leg that is still a valid leg, right? Not an impulse leg, but an anchor leg, still a valid leg. X to A, that retracement up is going to be our A to B. We talked ciphers yesterday. I was so happy. I got a comment from the live stream about a trader that never knew that the cipher could retrace up to B leg, could retrace up to the 618. He was like, Akil, I never knew it could retrace that far. I've been trading it to the I thought it can only go to the 50%, he said, or something like that. He said, I gotta go back and back to. Of course, I said, hey, the original rules say this. But if you've back tested it and your results are positive, continue doing what you're doing. But it's cool. Little nuggets like that of people that don't actually know the rules, they can get that little boom, and maybe it helps that trader out. That was pretty cool. So we got X to A to B. We extend down, extendo, right? Coming to our 127, not violating our 1414, giving us a valid C leg. And if we push up here on the daily, this is going to be our... sorry about that. We have a similar setup, right? Coming in the form of this. We're not going to draw the whole thing out for you right now as far as the legs, because you guys know what it is at this point. But we're looking at X to A to B, B to C. And if we continue down, we've got the D completion right down here. But wait, there's more. If we, I'm going to steal this Fibbo right here. Nope, wrong thing. Sorry, Akil. There we go. If we do something like this, looking at this as being our X to A, this as our A to B. I'm going to change the color so it's not as confusing. There we go. X to A to B, B to C. And let me know if you guys, this is what you guys are looking at, Justin. B to C down here, we are going to have our third, 1, 2, 3, third potential cipher pattern here on the dollar Canada. Beautiful, right? Beautiful pattern art, guys. Probably should have gave this one some color. We'll add that so it just looks better. Beautiful pattern art right here. Let's make that yellow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, we may have a dilemma on our hands, And let's see real quick. I don't know what is our average true range. And hopefully there's a person that kept asking about how to use the average true range as a stop loss. Hopefully this will explain it to them. Our ATR is 32. Who's good at math? Give me some 125. Give me 57 minus 32. 57 minus 32. Is that 25? Hopefully 25. There we go. So this is going to be a tough one for you, right? So the stop loss for the the smallest cipher is going to be this red line right here. I'm thinking the truth, right? Will the stock market crash? Yes, but it will also rebound, right? Every 10 years it will crash, but then it will rebound. Bitcoin will crash. It has crashed historically. It has also rebounded crazy historically. Will it have a long-term rebound? Who knows? It depends on your definition of long-term. But we have a dilemma here. So we've got a stop loss for the small pattern that comes after the entry for a new pattern. How do we handle this situation? Oh, the user says, I would be throwing a monkey wrench into all of this if I said that the dollar Canada is somewhat in a range, looking at the bigger picture. No, not at all. We are range bound. Yep. And that's one of the reasons we see pattern formations form, right? Typically, not all the time. Typically, advanced pattern formations in their nature, they form within ranges. If you look at the natures of the series of retracements and not really extensions, it's going to come in periods of consolidation. So most patterns are going to form within range-bound markets. Yep. So I think YouTube froze if it did. Sorry, guys. Should join us live in the live room. Orsi said the smaller cipher could also be the smaller cipher X to D could also be a potential bat of a Gartley. So let's go back down to the lower time frame. So Orsi's saying also the smaller cipher. We want to make things more confusing here. The smaller cipher leg like this, she's looking at this as also being a potential advanced pattern formation bat or Gartley. So with the overlapping pattern situation, unless you are trading in two separate accounts, you're not going to be able to take both, or it depends on where you're located at. There's different rules depending on where you're trading at, on how many kind of isolated trades you can have at once, right? But you may not be able to take both as individual trades. So you're going to have to choose one. You're going to have to choose, do I take the smaller one, or do I wait for the bigger one? And what's the answer? Because if you're not able to take them as two individual trades, what would happen is the second you're stopped out of the smaller one, you would just enter the bigger one, which wouldn't make any sense. So what do? You got a small pattern, you got a big pattern. They're overlapping. We talked about this yesterday. Which one do you take? Do you take which one feels better? Which one smells better? Taste better? Does like stained glass. You know what we love doing, Chris? I don't know if you ever saw this. There will be times, I feel like it's always on like dollar yen or Aussie Canada. There'll be times where the market is in consolidation and it gives like 10 patterns in a row. And we always do this thing where it's like we show the chart without the patterns on, and like no one can. This is like our new trader trick. We're like, what do you see here? Like, oh, I don't see anything, Akil. And then we import the chart with the patterns on there, and it's like amazing. It's crazy once you train your eyes. But those are the really artwork things. Chris says you go off your feelings, right? You spin around and you throw a dart at the wall. No. So I'm always going to say this: it doesn't matter what your rule is, as long as you're consistent with it. I guess it does matter what your rule is to an extent. You don't want a rule that doesn't have a positive expectancy, but I would hope as a trader you would test stuff first. But my rule is always this: I'm never going to pass up on a valid pattern for a potential pattern. Billy says, would that be to the specified in TP? Can you rephrase that, Billy? I'm not sure. I restarted YouTube a little bit, so I'm not sure what that question was referring to. But if you can rephrase it with kind of what a little bit more detail, I'll kindly answer it. But I always take the pattern that completes first, because I would much rather, I value in a completed pattern. I don't want to miss out on a completed pattern in hopes of a potential pattern. It's like a bird in the hand is worth more than two in the bush. Is that what they say? Or do I get birds actually in bushes? That's another thing we need to ponder, but you guys get the point. So I always take the one that first completes. And if that means passing up on the second one, then I'll pass up on the second one. But I am not going to pass up on a valid pattern in hopes of a separate pattern. Now, there are situations where maybe you have a different rule. So for example, let's say that instead of two ciphers here, let's say that you have a cipher and a bat. And let's say Orsi does her testing, and her testing says that, you know what? The bat is a much higher percentage, and we're just using this as an example, guys. The bat has a much higher win percentage. It's a much more positive expectancy, is her number one pattern. In that case, would it be okay if she had a rule that says, if I have an overlapping bat and cipher, I always take the bat? Trade plan. There we go. I'm thinking target profit. Sorry, I'm all about the money. Yeah, it would be perfectly fine, because what she's done is she's quantified and she's valued in her trading plan what strategy trumps another strategy. So it would be no different than saying like, hey, if I have you wouldn't have this, but if for some reason I had a trend continuation set up at the same point as a FTB, I always take the FTB, right? So nothing wrong with doing that. The key is, right, you want to have rules, you want to have a consistent process. If you have a consistent process, then there's less randomness in the market. So cool stuff here. That was a good choice, YouTube. Thank you for picking Canada. Real quick says, Bobby says, you could have a rule for this scenario where if you get stopped out of the first one, then you can get involved in the second one if it's still in a completion zone. Yes, Bobby, but I would adjust the rule. I would say this. I would say that you need to have an alternative entry reason, because here's the thing, right? If we look at this scenario, right, my stop loss is literally right here at this red line, right? And let's say my entry is literally right here at this green line. So what happens is I would get stopped out and then immediately enter right again. Is there a point in doing that? Why would I even? I shouldn't even stop myself out, right? I shouldn't even stop myself out. Yeah. So I would say this though: if you get stopped at the first pattern, right? Then as long as price action is within your kill zone, then you look for an alternative entry. So it could be a single candlestick formation, it could be a candlestick combination, it could be a simple pattern formation, right? Something like that. So it's like, hey, if I get stopped out, then I can still enter the bigger cipher, but I need a pin bar higher high, higher close reversal, or I need a double bottom RSI oversold, RSI divergence, stuff like that. Kind of an alternative reason. I would feel much better taking it that way, because in this case, basically I would just, as soon as I'm stopped out, I'm entering right away, which would basically, in my mind, there'd be no point of stopping myself out in the first place. I'd just put a stop loss below the bigger one. Also, you run into, it's very hard, and this is going to happen from time to time as well. It's very hard to go directly from one trade to another. Have you guys ever did that? got back-to-back signals where as soon as you're stopped out, you get like a secondary signal because you just took a loss. For most of you, a loss is going to hurt, and then you're basically going right back into that bad relationship. So you're at a very high emotional state, and you never want to be at that high emotional state when trading because it just leads to more mistakes. Now, if you're a seasoned vet, then you've become numb and soulless and you don't care anymore about emotion. But most traders, right, losses are not fun. So it's like it's kind of like, you going into the boxing ring with Mike Tyson. He punches you in the face, he knocks you out, and then you got to go right back in. And it's like, help me, please. No, please, no. Please don't send me back in there. It's a tough environment. So I would say look for an alternative reason. But yeah, I would say look for an alternative reason. And in most cases, it's not going to be this close to the overlap. Usually it's going to be some more, a little wider zone. But yeah, good idea. Have an alternative reason to be able to enter a trade. That way you're not missing it up. You still have a chance to get involved. Just maybe you're being a little bit more conservative in your approach. So good idea. No, thinking out loud is fine. I told you guys, I've got a machine gun my whole life. I call my brainstorming machine gun brainstorming, right? Where I strap in to a Gatling gun and I just fire ideas out there. And I fire 1,000 ideas out there and 999 of them suck and one makes sense. And that's all that matters, right? When you're brainstorming, when you're doing strategy development, right? Does anyone care about accuracy? Right? Does anyone care about accuracy? If you tested 100 things and 99 of them failed and one of them worked and made your system fantastic, does anyone care that you're only 1% right? And only 1% of your trading ideas worked. Well, the one that worked is good. It's going to make me money, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't cost you anything if you're wrong, right? Like that. And here's the harsh reality for you guys going into strategy development. I'll tell you a secret. Most of the stuff you try out isn't going to work. You can talk to Jason Greystone. You can talk to myself. You guys have been here, right? I've been working on strategies for years that I haven't been able to get to work. Years. Seriously, years. On and off, but years. But if I find that one thing that works, guess what? I have something that is sustainable for decades, generations in the future. So yeah, never feel bad about that. Is that a good idea to re-enter? I'm not sure if you saw the first part of the conversation, but I wouldn't re-enter right away. I would have an alternative approach to re-entering. In this scenario, I think you got to choose one or the other. So, good stuff. Targets. How do I take targets? For cipher pattern, targets go at the 3D2 and the 618 retracement, traditional target. So take Fibonacci retracement from the, sorry about that. Try that again. Take a Fibonacci retracement from the C leg to the D leg in the case of the cipher. 3D2 target 1, 618 target 2. And of course, you can tweak those to your liking depending on what you want. You can do everything off at 3D2, everything off at 618. Use the 50%, 786. You can use structure, but the traditional rules are 3D2 target 1, 618 target 2. All right. YouTubers, trading viewers, any more questions before I kick you out? Little viewer's choice today. You guys made a very good choice. I was concerned this morning that I was gonna ask you guys what you want to look at, and you're gonna pick a dumb pair, and I was gonna be like, well, there's nothing here. Live stream over. Goodbye. But you guys picked a good one since we had the overlapping patterns and whatnot. So good stuff. So I'll give you guys, I know there's a delay. I'll give you guys a few more seconds to see if there's any more questions or anything like that. Then I will boot you from the room forever until next week. But of course, I would say this, if you want to join, we do these sessions. We have a London session and a New York session. We do it every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It is part of your 14-day trial membership on the Tier 1 trading platform. So sign up. Join a London session, join a New York session, talk to the community of traders. Trust me, very important. We talked about the massive success we've been having in getting traders funded in the last, more so in the last few years. And part of it is because these traders are on the community mingling and getting advice from each other. The best way to do something is to find someone that has already done it and mimic them, right? That is the best way. So you put yourself in a positive environment. Guess what happens? Positive things start to happen to you as well. If you take action, you can't just be in there. You've got to actually take action and ask questions and participate. You can't just be like, I signed up. Am I successful yet? It doesn't work like that. Orsi says real quick, to the guy on YouTube who asked you about targets, is he probably going to trade it live? No, I don't think so. I know the guy that asked it, so I'm going to say no. But normally I would assume that, Orsi. But this one didn't. I know the guy. It wasn't one of those questions. I think it was an actual. It was a legit question. But yeah, it's funny. It's different. It's different in the wording. And someone said Aussie Annam. Sorry, we only do one trading idea here in the live stream. Again, if you want to do more, come hop in the live room and join us. We do about 2 hours of stuff every day. But yeah, usually if it's like, where do I put targets at? That's the question where people are trying to like sneak in and trade stuff. But normally I would assume that not this time because I know the person. But yeah, you're typically dead on. All right. Thank you guys for joining. And I will see you guys this weekend for another weekend trading edge video. It's going to come out probably this Sunday because I'm going to be away on Saturday. And then I'll see you next week in the live stream. And if you haven't looked at it already, I'm not sure if it's live now because it takes about 24 hours for it to go public on YouTube. But we did a very nice presentation yesterday on money management on the Trader Coffee Break. So check out Trader Coffee Break channel. It's an amazing channel, very underrated. But if you're looking for trading topics that are going to help you from beginning to end, it is an amazing resource. I just with most of the questions I get now, guys, I just refer them to Trader Coffee Break episodes instead of like writing these responses. Akil, what's your favorite trading book? Watch this video. Akil, what do you think about money management? Watch this video. Is it good to have multiple mentors? Watch this video. Yeah, it makes life so much easier. So much more easier. Because especially when you're responding on Twitter, like, you got a certain amount of words and you can't be too wordy and you go over, you got to go back and delete. So I just say, watch this video. I just send them links now. I got over 1,000 videos on YouTube as well. So I just do the same thing. I'm like, just YouTube, Akil Stokes and write the topic and you'll probably find it. So making my life easier. All right. See you guys. Thank you for joining. Hit that like button on the way out. Leave me any comments or questions if you have it. I'll see you guys